Welcome to the planning briefing for November 7th. This is Travis Booth with the National Weather Service in Missoula. Let's jump right in. We'll look at the satellite view of the northern Pacific Ocean. If we take a little closer look at our part of the world, what we're seeing is a large area of low pressure off the Pacific Northwest coast, and it's sending weak disturbances into the area that are generally falling apart as they come across. But what we will see the next few days is a fair amount of instability type showers, especially on the terrain, but we'll get into that more as we go. So what are the key points for this week? It's a fairly active week through this weekend, but don't get the wrong idea. Not expecting any big weather systems or a heavy precipitation, just some occasional pass level snow. We are a little concerned with some localized icy spots around the passes and just below the passes, but there'll certainly be some dry periods of time mixed in. We're watching for some gusty winds on Tuesday morning on the Camas Prairie. Friday into the coming weekend, looks like we're going to have rising snow levels with those precipitation chances continuing. And then way out there, we've been monitoring the potential for some much colder air to work into the area around the 18th through 20th of November. So that's quite a ways out there, just something we're watching at the moment. So if we let's see, let me let this kind of loop through here. This is just the mid-level height pattern that's forecast over the next 9 days, and I'll get it here to the beginning. So we're back to present time being Sunday, and what you're going to see for the next several days is just a southwesterly flow. We're just expecting those weak disturbances to slide on through. And like we mentioned, some pass level snow, nothing super heavy. As we get into Thursday into the weekend, you can see the ridge of high pressure pokes up over the area. Normally we would say, oh, looking for a drying period, but there is a decent atmospheric river that looks to be pointed at the Pacific Northwest, and we may get some moisture off of that, so we may continue to see precipitation chances, especially across the northern part of western Montana and perhaps part of north central Idaho. We will see rising snow levels during that time though. And then as we get into, let's see, let it loop through one more time, as we get into the middle part of next week, here we go. This is Tuesday of next week. You can start to see some troughiness developing over the north central part of the U.S. We'll talk about that just a little bit more. So this is forecast models representation of reflectivity starting later today, and then we'll just continue it all the way through Wednesday morning. And what you see a lot of is just some off and on snow shower activity. So this is early on Monday morning for far northwest Montana. Don't be surprised to see a dusting to an inch of snow even in the valleys in far northwest Montana. And then as we look toward Tuesday morning, we see the most widespread precipitation for this coming week along a warm front that pushes across through the area. And then that transitions late Tuesday into Wednesday in kind of a showery regime. And so throughout this time period, the most likely spots for the passes to see some light snow would be Marias, Lookout, Lolo, and Lost Trail. We are a little concerned, like I mentioned earlier, about some melt and refreeze right around the passes and just below the passes during those overnight hours and those early morning time periods. So looking at some individual spots, this is forecast for Marias Pass. You can see an inch or two of snow through Monday morning, and then that reflection again on Tuesday into Wednesday of some light snowfall. Lookout Pass, a similar story, a bit more of the snowfall focused in on Tuesday. Lolo, Upper Lochsa, once again, Tuesday being the main focus, but light amounts, 1 to 2 inches. Lost Trail, similar story. And then as we get into southwest Montana, not expecting a whole lot with that Tuesday system, probably just a dusting there at Georgetown Lake. Not to forget, we had brought this up earlier, early Tuesday morning, still watching this. Forecast models vary somewhat on the magnitude of the winds, but from the Camas Prairie southward on US 95 down toward Riggins, we could have some pretty good wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour, perhaps even higher. So just a little concern for those high profile vehicles, maybe some localized power outages. Looking at the weather threat matrix, Once again, fairly low impact through the week. We do have this moderate impact because of the Camas Prairie winds for Tuesday. One thing to keep in mind on Wednesday, the snow levels do come back down to the valley floors. You know, most of the week they're going to be at pass level, but on Wednesday they do drop back down to the valley floor. So we could see some icy patches there Wednesday morning as some of those snow showers sneak into the valleys. Looking further out, the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook kind of puts us right there in the middle between above normal precipitation chances and the trend toward below normal. And then as far as temperatures, right around near normal is what's forecast at the moment. But the thing to kind of take away from this is you can see there's a leaning in the forecast models toward much colder air to sneak into the upper Midwest and maybe even into the deep south part of the United States. And it really will just depend on how far west that cold air gets, because if we do get the cold air into our part of the world, it most likely will be a pretty dramatic change, because it'll at least be Arctic air or modified Arctic air. And that would also lead us to more than likely see a fair amount of snowfall with that. So that's something we're watching. And right now it seems to be that 18th through the 20th of November is a time period that the forecast models have kind of keyed in on as a potential for the much colder air. Not saying it's going to happen, it just depends on how west it comes. So it's something to watch. Thank you for watching. The next briefing is scheduled for Thursday the 11th. We'll see you then.